You're sitting in a waiting room, filling out a form. Smoke starts drifting in through a vent in the wall. Not a wisp, real smoke, filling the room, stinging your eyes. Two other people are sitting right there. They see it, and they do nothing. They keep filling out their forms as the room fills with smoke. What do? When people sat in that room alone, 75% got up and reported it. With two calm strangers beside them, only 10% did. The smoke was identical. The danger was identical. The only thing that changed was that someone else was watching. You're sure you'd be the one who stood up. So was everyone else in that room. This starts with a murder. In 1964, a young woman named Kitty Genovese was killed outside her apartment building in New York, late at night. 2 weeks later, a newspaper ran a story with a devastating claim. 38 of her neighbors had heard her, gone to their windows, watched, and not one of them called for help. The country was horrified. How could 38 people do nothing? Everyone had an answer. The city makes people cold. Modern life makes us selfish. People are just bad now. Two young psychologists thought all of that was wrong. John Darley and Bib Latané had a stranger idea and a much more unsettling one. What if the neighbors didn't fail to help despite there being 38 of them? What if they failed to help? Because there were 38 of them. So they built the experiment. You arrive at a university to take part in a discussion about student life. Because the topics are personal, you're told, you'll each sit in a separate room and talk over an intercom. One person speaks at a time. The experimenter won't be listening. You're told there are other participants. There aren't. Every voice you hear is a recording. You are alone in the building. The discussion begins. A young man goes first. He mentions, a little awkwardly, that he sometimes has seizures when he's stressed. The conversation moves on. It's ordinary. It's boring. And then his turn comes around again. He starts to speak, and something is wrong. His words break apart. He says he needs help. He says he's having one of them right now. He asks for someone, anyone, to help him. And then his microphone cuts out, and there is nothing but silence. Nobody is stopping you. The door is right there. The only question in the room is whether you get up. And the answer depended almost entirely on one number. How many other people you believed were listening. When you thought you were the only other person who could hear him. 85% of people went for help, and most went fast, before he even stopped speaking. When you thought one other person was listening, it dropped to 62%. When you thought there were 4 others, it collapsed to 31%. Same emergency, same voice, same silence. The only thing that changed was the size of the audience. And here's the part that should unsettle you. The people who didn't go for help were not calm. They weren't shrugging. Darley and Latané watched them through a window, trembling, sweating, hands shaking. They cared. They just couldn't move. 3 things were happening inside that room. The first is what Darley and Latané called diffusion of responsibility. When you're the only one, the duty is 100% yours. Add 4 more people, and something in your head quietly divides it. Someone else will go. Someone better. Someone closer. Everyone thinks it, so nobody moves. The second is pluralistic ignorance. You're not sure if this is a real emergency, so you do what humans always do. You check the faces around you. But they're checking your face. Everyone is calm because everyone else looks calm, and the whole room reassures itself into doing nothing. In the smoke room, people sat there until they could barely see because 2 strangers hadn't blinked. They ran it again with a woman crying out in the next room after a fall. Alone, 70% went to her. Sitting next to one calm stranger who did nothing. 7% did. The third is simpler and almost embarrassing. Fear of looking stupid. If you jump up and it's nothing, you're the fool who panicked. Being the only one to act means being the only one who can be wrong. Latané and Darley found that helping is not one decision, it's 5, and you have to pass all of them. You have to notice it. You have to read it as an emergency. You have to decide it's your responsibility. You have to know what to do. And then you have to actually do it. A crowd doesn't attack your kindness. It quietly breaks step 2 and step 3, and the chain snaps in the middle, long before you ever choose to walk away. Now, the honest part. The story that started all this was mostly false. There were not 38 silent witnesses. Later investigations found the number was invented, that most people never saw the attack, and that some of them did call the police. And modern studies using real security camera footage find that in public conflicts, someone intervenes around 9 times out of 10. But this doesn't let us off. Because the lab result is still there, replicated for decades. The effect is real. It's just not that we don't care. It's that in the seconds when it matters, a crowd makes each of us hesitate. And sometimes hesitation is the whole difference. You have felt the edge of this. The person on the pavement you slowed down for and then walked past because nobody else had stopped. The message in the group chat that nobody answered, so you didn't either. The thing at work everyone could see was wrong. That was somehow nobody's job. You weren't cold. You were waiting for your turn and it never came. But here is the part that should give you hope. And this one is different from every other experiment in this series. Because the cure isn't willpower, it's knowledge. Researchers tested it directly. They taught one group of students about the bystander effect. Weeks later, they staged an emergency. The students who had learned about it were twice as likely to help. Just knowing about the trap was enough to spring it, which means something strange just happened to you. Watching this video changed your odds. The next time you're in a crowd and something is wrong, a small voice is going to say, "This is it, this is the thing from that video." And you'll move a half second before everyone else. That half second is the entire experiment. Darley and Latané didn't prove that people are heartless. They proved the opposite, that we're desperate for someone to go first. The crowd isn't cruel. The crowd is frozen, and it's waiting for one person to break the spell. So the next time something is wrong and nobody is moving, don't look at the faces around you. They're looking at yours, because the experiment never tested whether you cared. It tested whether you thought it was your turn. Would you have stood up and be honest? Tell me in the comments. And if you want to understand the experiments that reveal who we really are, this is the human experiment. I'll see you in the next case.